cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and I wanted to talk about a few things Doctor Who related as somewhat of a precursor to Series 8. You know, coming off the coattails of the teaser trailer, the Am I a Good Man trailer, which I posted a reaction to, I touched base somewhat vaguely on certain themes and story elements that I'm hoping aren't going to be carried over into this new era of Doctor Who, featuring the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, as well as Jenna Coleman's Clara Oswald, his companion. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about that. You know, when the series came back in 2005 under the leadership of Russell T Davies, you know, here was a guy who did some very creative things and subtle things all throughout, you know, series 1 through 4. Essentially, you would start the series, and throughout each of the episodes, he peppered very subtly hints to the overall story arc of the series, which would lead penultimately to the series finale. And I feel like when Stephen Moffat took over for Series 5 with Matt Smith, he kind of tried to recapture that, reinvent the wheel, whatever you want to say, only he made a lot of mistakes along the way. Being, you know, a devout Whovian as I am, even though I enjoy Series 5 through 7, I'm finding there are problems with it that I have in retrospect, largely being, number one, all of the red herrings that Stephen Moffat would throw in. I remember people talking when, you know, Series 5 and Series 6 was out. Oh, what do the red balloons mean? Oh, what do all the fish references mean? Oh, there's a blacked out window at the top of that house must mean there's a hidden floor, and all these different theories and speculations and everything like that that really amounted to just nothing, essentially. And when it came to the overall hints peppered through that he tried to recapture, what Russell T Davies did, he did it in a much less subtle fashion. Series 6 for me is the biggest offender, you know, the first half of Series 6, where you have the whole Madame Kavarian thing. You know, you'll be watching an episode, say, Curse of the Black Spot, which is an episode I really enjoy, and it's one that I actually go back to singularly to watch because I love the atmosphere, the pirate ship, you know, Amy swashbuckling, and the ghostly siren. You know, you don't know what this creature is. It seems to be killing people, but there's actually more going on. And it's just an absolutely fun episode to watch. I really love going back and watching it. But, you know, glaringly, through the middle of the episode, there's this point where Amy zones out and sees Madame Kavarian's head poking through that hole in the door. You know, it basically pertains, spoiler alert for anyone who isn't familiar with Series 6, to the overall aspect of Amy's being a ganger, and, you know, she had been kidnapped, and she's having a baby, and all of that stuff, you know, with Madame Kavarian, what have you. And I feel like going back to watch that episode now, if I'm only singularly watching that episode, it's such a glaring thing that breaks the tension and the traction of the entire episode. And so I find this to be a reoccurring problem in the Stephen Moffat era, going back and looking at it over again, that he really doesn't understand subtlety, and he puts these things in that unless you're committed to watch every single episode, you're not going to get. Or even if you've seen it before, you know, it's going to still take you out of the episode because, oh, that's the thing that amounts to the story arc, you know. And I feel like for the casual viewership of Doctor Who, as much as we, the Whovians, the hardcore fans, would like to believe we're the bread and butter of the series, keeping it alive, it's actually the mass appeal, the mass audiences, you know, the massive numbers of people watching casually. And I feel like it's akin to the Final Fantasy gaming franchise, where, being a big fan of that series, many times I would hear the question, you know, do I have to play Final Fantasies 1 through 6 to understand and pick up Final Fantasy 7? And I would have to describe, well, they're actually all self-contained stories and everything. You don't have to worry about that. With Doctor Who, I feel like this is the kind of thing that, you know, threatens the casual viewer from sticking with it because, oh, it's a reference to the overall arc. You mean I have to watch all the episodes to get it? I don't think I want to invest that much time, and, you know, forget it. I'm not going to bother with it. And going back and watching these episodes, I find it's a very glaring sort of adverse effect that Stephen Moffat has in trying to utilize this framework of hinting at the overall arc, because he kind of misses the mark on the subtlety that Russell T Davies did it right. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you think about this. Moving on into Series 8, do you want to see these kinds of things peppered throughout the series, the overall hint of what's to come, or do you want to see it dialed back more akin to Russell T Davies' subtlety era? And yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.